Good evening, everyone, to the Village Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, July 14, 2025 at 7 p.m. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can everyone please stand a moment of silence for Teresa Shevler's father, who recently passed away? Thank you, folks. Roll call. Trustee Alpert.
Present.
Trustee Corrigan.
Present.
Trustee Hogue.
Present.
And Trustee Osborn.
Present.
Mayor Curley present. Upcoming meetings. We have a regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 4th, 2025, and a regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 8th, 2025, because of the Labor Day holiday. We're going to the week after. I have a motion for approval of minutes for June 2nd, 2025, please. Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee
Second
Hogue.
made by Trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I wanted to set up a public hearing for some handicap parking spots for Lafayette Avenue on Suffern Place for our next meeting of August 4th, please. Can I get a motion, please?
Trustee Osborn.
Motion made by Trustee Osborn. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee
Second
Alpert.
made by Trustee Alpert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this point, I'm going to be opening up a public hearing. Mr. Emanuel, if you'd like to come up to the microphone here. I'm going to make a motion to open a public hearing for 14 Wayne Avenue, where he wants to take I'll let Terry Rice go ahead from here.
Just so everybody is aware of the procedural context for the application, as well as the standards that apply. I'm sure Mr. Emanuel will explain to you that this is for an application for 14 Wayne Avenue for an automotive repair facility to be used in conjunction with 16 Wayne Avenue. Property is located in the general business zone in which the use is a special permit use. I'll describe what the special permit use standards are in a minute. A special permit is something that's permitted by the zoning law, but because it has the attributes that might be more troublesome or require conditions, it requires an additional approval. So in the procedure that occurred here is the applicant filed an application for a special permit with the Board of Trustees. It was referred to the Planning Board for its review and recommendation. During that review, it was realized or confirmed that variances were required. The applicant went to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and they granted a number of variances. In particular, the zoning law requires a minimum front yard of 30 feet, and they were granted a variance to 2 feet. The minimum lot width requirement is 100 feet. They were granted a variance to 80 feet, and the required off-street parking requirement is 12. They were granted a variance to 1. In addition, the Planning Board made a number of recommendations, which I believe you have in their letter or memorandum dated January 15th of this year, where they said if the board approves it, then we think the following conditions should be required. Read it all for the sake of time, but you have that document. Just so you understand, they will also be required, should you approve it, to go further with the Planning Board and obtain site plan approval. Now, the Board of Trustees, as the agency who act in an administrative capacity in reviewing a special permit application, and there are general and specific standards. I would also add that because you are the legislative body, you're not necessarily confined by those standards, that you can also consider anything else that's relevant to the application as I read these, as you will see, appears. So the general standards are, first of all, the location and size of the special permit use, the nature and intensity of the operations involved in it or conducted in connection with it, the size of the site in relation to it, and the location of the site with respect to streets giving access to it are such that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and ordinary development of the area in which it's located. Secondly, the location, nature, and height of buildings, walls, and fences, and the nature and extent of existing or proposed plantings on the site are such that the special permit use will not hinder or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings. Third, operations in conjunction with any special permit use will not be more objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, traffic fumes, vibration, or other characteristics than would be the operation of permitted uses not requiring special permit. Fourth, the parking areas will be of adequate size for the particular special permit use, properly located and suitably screened from adjoining residential uses, and the entrance and exit drives shall be laid out so as to achieve the maximum convenience and safety. And then fifth, any additional considerations which relates to the public health, safety, or welfare of the neighborhood, surrounding areas, community, or general populace. So those are the general standards. In particular, with respect to an automotive repair facility, the standards are the site shall have frontage of at least 100 feet on a public road and shall have a depth of 100 feet. Ingress and egress points shall be defined by the use of poured-in-place concrete curb sections and radii, and shall be designed to provide for safe and convenient travel without the potential for traffic backing onto the public way. Third, there will be no outside display of products. No outside display of products shall be permitted, including vehicles for sale. 4 is landscaped areas. First of all, a 10-foot wide landscape area shall be provided along all property lines, excluding points of ingress and egress, and property lines adjacent to existing commercial uses. The planning board may require that the landscaped area be densely planted with a mixture of shrubs, trees, and/or a fence to create an opaque screen. Secondly, with respect to landscaping, all landscaped areas along property lines which are crossed by access drives may be planted with low shrubs to greater than 3 feet in height, and trees with a branching habit of not less than 8 feet high. No planting shall cause a hazardous condition by interference with the line of sight needed for safe entering and exiting maneuvers by motor vehicles. At no time shall any unregistered or dismantled automobiles, etc., be outside of the building or totally enclosed and fully screened outdoor adjacent.
You gotta talk around it. You gotta talk around it. I can't even hear it.
No car and truck rentals shall be permitted. There shall be no outside storage or display of accessories or portable signs, rubbish, etc. Can't be outside. No repair work outside. Wrecks or damaged vehicles brought in for repairs shall remain visible from off premises for no more than 30 minutes, and all landscape areas designated on the site plan and the landscaping plan shall be maintained in a neat and healthy condition. So those are the considerations.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to have a motion to open up the public hearing for 14 Wade Avenue, please. Motion, please.
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Motion made by Trustee Alpert, second made by Trustee Corrigan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Emanuel, please, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Ira Emanuel, RPC, New City. I am the attorney for the applicant. Can you hear me all right over there?
Yeah, a little, if you go closer to the mic, pull it closer here or something.
No
Bruce,
problem.
Mics ain't that loud today. You can hear us good, Bruce? Okay. Good.
No problem. I will say that I had a little bit of trouble hearing Mr. Rice, but I got the gist of what he was saying. The fans are obviously not helping. We're good? Okay. All right. As Mr. Rice said, and as was noted in the public hearing notice, this is an application for a special permit to allow auto repair facility at 14 Wayne Avenue. 14 Wayne Avenue is directly adjacent to 16 Wayne Avenue, which is Route 202 collision, which I'm sure that all of you are familiar with. Right now, although it's in a BU zone, the 14 Wayne Avenue has a single-family residence on it. The single-family residence is a non-conforming use in the district, and I'm getting feedback here. The single-family residence is a non-conforming use in the BU district. The owner, or the principal rather, of Route 202 Collision has purchased 14 Wayne Avenue and would like to fold it into his business. The two lots will remain separate because there are differences in the ownership structure, but what he intends to do is he intends to knock down the existing residence, put up a small garage of about 1,200 square feet. That would be a single story with some attic storage. The garage would have 3 bays, and in those 3 bays he would be able to do repairs and prep work for the vehicles that he's working on over at 16 Wayne Avenue. Right now he's doing all of that work in the same building, and that makes things difficult and inefficient. And the reason it's difficult and inefficient is because he has paint booths over at 16 Wayne Avenue, and when those paint booths are in use, it makes it difficult and limits the work that can be done on vehicles elsewhere within the building. So by purchasing 14 Wayne Avenue, putting up a prep and repair garage on 14 Wayne Avenue, he can have more efficient use of the business and get cars in and out of there more quickly, so that the cars are turned over more quickly and they are not stored on the property for as long. There will be cross easements between the two that I'll work out with Mr. Rice or Mr. Magrino to make sure that the village is comfortable with that. But with respect to those easements, it's important to point out that vehicles will not travel directly from one lot to the other. Vehicles will be taken out onto Route 202 and taken up into either lot. All of this was discussed with the planning board. All of this was discussed with the ZBA. Both the planning board and the ZBA understood the proposal that's being made, and both the ZBA and the planning board the ZBA granted the variances. The planning board issued what we feel is a very positive recommendation to this board. Mr. Rice went through the various general conditions and special conditions of the special permit. We have submitted a narrative summary dated February 16, 2024, that went through all of those conditions, and we believe we met them. At the time that we wrote the narrative summary, it was before the Zoning Board of Appeals had granted the variances, and so we wrote in the narrative summary that we were hopeful to be able to get the variances to meet those conditions. We now have those variances, and so therefore any conditions that rely upon the need for variances have now been met. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Actually, before I do that, this property is on US 202 and it is adjacent to the New York State Thruway. I checked today, we do not yet have a GML from the GML review from the Rockland County Department of Planning, nor is there an indication that one was sent to the Rockland County Department of Planning. So I'm going to defer to Mr. Rice with respect to that and whether or not you can act this evening.
Obviously, until we get the GML review, the board can't take a vote on it, so we'll follow up to make sure we do get the review.
That was my feeling as well. I'm frankly concerned that this has been before this board on a formal basis since January of this year, and no GML review was even requested. But we're hopeful that, and we would ask that GML review be sent out as soon as possible so that we can come back here probably at the September meeting, because it won't happen in time for August, so that the board could act at that time.
Yeah, that's fine, that's good. Can I ask you a question about, and I heard tonight you said that there was there 2 houses on the property or just one? I heard you mention.
Just one.
Okay. There was a question asked in the ZBA meeting, a resident or person asked a question about the house at the time, and they said about it being demolished, and you represented in that meeting that the house was already demolished. You recall that?
Has it been demolished? No.
Well, if you look at the tape of that meeting, the ZBA meeting, at 33 minutes and 49 seconds, you'll see that representation that you made.
Then I made
So
a mis-
if you did, is it right today or right then? I just want to...
Mr. Green, who is the principal, is there every single day. He was there. I just asked him. He said the house has not been demolished. I misspoke.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure. So when they took that vote, they did it under the understanding that that house was demolished already, I assume.
I'm not sure that it would make a difference one way or the other.
I don't know if it would, but that's, under law, I don't know if it would.
And the ZBA certainly is local, would have had the opportunity to go out and do a site visit or even just to drive by.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking about our view now. We have our rights too. I'm just exercising our rights.
As I said, I just asked my client. He was there half an hour ago. Okay, and the house is still there.
Okay, well, I'm just going based on your statement, that's all. So, I was confused. I didn't know if there was a second house that I missed.
Wouldn't be the first time I've made a mistake.
That's okay. That's fine. On there's two separate pieces of property. Were both pieces of properties purchased at the same time? I'm just curious.
No.
One was purchased later?
Yeah, when did you buy? Why don't you come up? This is Darrell Green. He is the principal of Route 202 Collision, and he's also the principal of the ownership of 14 Wayne Avenue.
Okay.
So 16 Wayne Avenue was purchased in 2015, and then I purchased 14 Wayne Avenue, I believe in 21 or 22.
Right, okay. And I recall it was actual house. People lived there for many years.
I'm not sure how, yes, people did live there, no one lives there now.
No, okay, right. So it was a hardship that was created. It wasn't something that always existed. Is that a fair statement?
Well, there's no hardship involved in this special permit, Mr. Mayor.
What's that?
This special permit is not dependent.
I understand that, but I have a fair understanding.
Over the variance.
I just want to understand what's the whole, I mean, if you want to limit my questions, then I guess
Well, no, I want...
All right, good. Well, my question was...
The term hardship has...
I understand I understand it too. I'm just asking the questions. If you want to go legal game, I can go that legal game too. I'm just asking questions. I want simple answers.
And I'd love to answer that question.
Okay. Is there a mortgage on both properties or just one property? They're separate properties, I assume.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are there mortgages on both properties at this time?
No, just on 16.
Okay, so-
Not on 14.
So are these properties going to be adjoined or not be adjoined?
No.
They're going to be separate properties or separate businesses then?
There's two different LLCs for them.
They're two different corporations, two different businesses. Okay. All right. So are we joining these properties with one entrance or as one business or two separate entrances or two separate businesses?
Each will maintain a separate entrance, but they will be operated by a single business.
So what makes these businesses, but they're going to be operated as two separate LLCs or?
The real estate are two LLCs.
Correct.
Correct.
All right, so could you sell off one and off the other then at any point? I'm just curious.
No, I'm not looking to sell any of them off.
Well, you could, I mean, right?
I could, but that's not the
I'm just
direction I'm
curious.
going.
Yeah. If the concern, Mr. Mayor, is that one of the properties would be sold off without the other, and that would have a negative impact on what you're doing, we've agreed and stated from the very beginning, and it's in all of our narratives, that there would be a binding easement and covenant tying the two properties together for as long as they operate together. And we'll work that out to the satisfaction of the village attorney or the deputy village attorney.
Right. So, okay, so if they separated at some point, if I'm reading correctly, it was required to have 12 spots, and the ZBA said you could have one spot? Is that, could you make that?
We'd probably have to revert back to a new site plan for any business that would operate there, and variances would be adjusted accordingly.
Right. So if you did split up, what would happen then with that? Could it possibly...
If it was split up, the
Would
ownership...
you build a house again?
No, because that's a non-conforming use, Mr. Mayor.
I understand that. I understand. But that was self-created non-conforming use because somebody stopped using it.
Well, that may be.
I didn't do it.
That's fine.
Okay.
But I think we're getting into an area that we don't really need to. The bottom line with respect to, and I understand your concern, this is not an unusual concern, nor is it an unwarranted concern. And that is why we've offered to provide the appropriate covenants and easements to make sure that that so long as the lots are to be used in conjunction with one another, that they'll stay bound to one another. The time may come, Mr. Mayor, when the business is sold. Whoop. Yeah, my phone's been blowing up also. The time may come when Mr. Green will decide he's going to retire or that he's had enough of the business, and at some point he may want to separate the two out. At that point, we would probably have to come back to the village for that separation, or somehow satisfy the village that the separation of the two businesses is warranted and appropriate under the zoning code.
Ira, I think one of the conceptual problems is that it's proposed that they operate as one use, but they're operating as separate entities, separate uses actually, because there's no interconnection between the two sites. And with a parking variance for just one parking space, and the narratives all indicate that they're integrated as far as parking and moving parking back and forth. Even if you had easements, if one of the parcels were to be sold and you have two separate businesses operating there's an issue.
Well, yes, and I agree. You're right. That is an issue, and that's why we're offering to put covenants in that would prohibit that from happening. So long as the business is operating on both lots, would prohibit that from happening. Once the business stops operating over both lots, then we would have to have a mechanism to allow for separation. And if that would require a trip back to the planning board or even to this board, so be it.
So, at some point earlier, I guess a representative of the owner here came to me, as an architect, and asked if the village would provide him with parking because he didn't have enough parking for that property for 16 Wayne Avenue. And I said, the village doesn't have the parking. So I do have a concern that you're taking on another piece of property without enough parking, yet you don't have enough parking for the business that exists already.
Well, okay.
And I understand there are concerns that were addressed at the ZBA, but there's still concerns that this board has allowed to have, and that's where I do have concern. I have concern even if fire engine pull it in there. I have concern about a lot of things with space and not getting in. But you didn't, as the business, and if you go, I go that way multiple times a day. You know, I go left or right and I want to put on the record that I am within the 500 feet. My property is within the 500 feet, but it doesn't change any decision I would make on that, because since I've been in this village, parking has been a big concern of mine with the downtown in general, with parking lots and how we move people from certain lots. We made them walk to the F lot. But for the business that exists there now, there is a fair statement that there is a parking problem, what was told to me already and what I see with my own eyes.
Okay. I think we have to make a distinction between parking and storage. Most of the vehicles that are on that lot are being stored there while they are being worked on. Okay? This is not a situation where customers come, park, okay, do their business, and then leave. Okay? It's not like a downtown parking lot. It's not like the parking lot over or here in Village Hall or at Ace Hardware or something like that. Customers come, they drop off their vehicles. The vehicles are then stored on the site until such time as the work is completed, and at that point they're removed from the site. When we went to the ZBA with respect to a parking variance, okay, we went there because your zoning code has requirements for parking, okay, and quite frankly, we couldn't meet those requirements for parking, and so that's why we went to the ZBA. When we explained this, the business operation to the ZBA, and by the way to the planning board, they had an understanding that this is what was going on, that this is not a situation where cars are actually parked. It's more of a storage situation. So we're not talking about the type of parking problems that you've recognized being in the downtown area.
I 100% think your situation is even worse than the one I talk about. Because when I talk about, the cars come and move, especially when they're for 2 hours and they leave, or they don't stay there and they don't stay overnight. Your situation is actually worse, because the cars do stay there, as you mentioned, I think auto body shops. They have to wait, they have to get estimates, so the time that they spend there, and it's the amount of cars that are coming there is the problem. So I actually think that your situation is worse than the situation than the other thing. Now, I respect businesses have...
If I may, Mr. Mayor, but they are not taking up parking spaces that would be used for other businesses.
Excuse me?
They are not taking up parking spaces that would be used for other businesses or other residents in the area.
But I guess what I've noticed is that now if you put another building where you can do more business even, which is the intent behind it, okay, you're going to then need more parking spots and more cars there. And that street in general is and not just this property there, it's a nuisance as far as people parking on the sidewalk in the streets and continually, because it is not a wide street. So it is a problem where the parking authority guy has numerous times, gone, hey, please, can you move, trying to be fair to the businesses, okay? So, but then that's another issue now, but the business as is, I mean, I would have loved if he said, we know the house went deteriorated, they let it deteriorate. It was, as I say, it's what they call a self-created hardship. I do not agree with our ZBA and their vote. I believe it was a self-created hardship, but that is not what I'm basing my thought process on now, okay? And again, I'm going to follow all the rules here. I'm going to wait for the GML, and I'm going to wait for our planner to come back with a report also, and then, with an open mind, we'll make everyone will make their choice and make their decision.
Yeah.
But I believe that the argument that it doesn't, the fact that it needed 12 spots and the ZBA let it go to 1 is mind-boggling to me, and I think it was one of the poorest decisions I ever seen in this village in 30-something years of coming to meetings. That's my personal belief, right? Well, from my experience, from what I've read, and from what I see, right? And because of the parking, maybe I have a better hold and a better handle on the parking problem that exists in this village, okay? And I think this, again, I still have an open mind. I still need to see more things. I don't, and I want to see more things on it before I make my mind up yet. I've read your materials. I've seen things, and even building a building and supposed to have, I think, 30 feet, 30 feet, in. They only have 2 feet in. Like, it's not even like we're making it. The house that was there has more than that. So actually, you're building a building that's going to take away more parking, not add parking.
Now, Mr. Mayor, not a single one of the vehicles that's on that lot would otherwise be parked in the business district.
You're
talking.
That's not what I'm saying, sir.
No, Mr. Mayor. Well, then let me finish.
Okay.
You've expressed concern that there's insufficient parking in the area. Okay, and you're concerned that there's not going to be enough parking because this business may attract more business because it's going to become more efficient. My answer to that, by the way, is that because it's going to be more efficient, it's going to be able to get the cars and the vehicles out of there more quickly. But not a single one of those vehicles would otherwise be parked in that area because you don't go to a body shop, you don't go to a repair shop unless you need the work. Okay? Visitor cars that are coming to that location are coming there for a specific purpose. It's not a drive-by situation. They're not going to leave the car there and then go into one of the downtown businesses or go to a restaurant or a bar and get a drink or food. They're going there for a specific reason. And if that body shop was not there, the cars would not be there. It's very simple. So it's not going to have a negative impact on the overall parking situation, irrespective of what you feel about the numbers.
You're not understanding anything I'm saying,
then
sir.
I apologize.
With all respect to, that's not my argument. That's not what I'm saying. They're going to be in the business district. I'm saying there's not enough cars for the business on that property itself, based on what I see and witness. Just if you go there right now, or yesterday maybe, you'll see that there are cars parked where you would have that building. Okay? You have cars crushed in around that building. Isn't that fair to say? Have you been there recently?
No, I have not.
Yeah. The answer is yes, okay? Yeah, so when that building's there, you're gonna have the new cars that you're working on, but those spaces are gonna be missing now too. So you're actually gonna have more, you're not gonna, you can say, well, we're gonna have 3 inside, and you wanted to claim, I think you wanted some up top too, or something like that, if they were up on lifts or something, okay? But the reality is that there's not enough parking for that business now, but it's there, and it's pre-existing, and I respect that. But to bring another bill, and I understand your contention, is that then, well, you take those cars and you move things, because then you have your paint shop, okay? But cars are constantly parked on the sidewalk. I've got complaints from women with baby carriages not being able... Well, with all respect to...
You know that.
With all respect, sir, I'm not here, it's all the parking lots up there. Because I've had Bobby Conklin, I'll bring him as a witness if I need be, okay? Who's actually gone to every one of yours and said, you gotta keep your cars off these lots. Because we're trying not to punish businesses. So that's happened, and the chief of police can tell you this also. So we have, it's a problem already. And I know it's a commercial, I know that's the kind of thing it is, all right? We've had another piece of property there who's been in front of the ZBA and actually got denied with a big lot there. So it's not, I'm not saying it's one, I'm saying it's the area in general. But do we have to keep on letting the area become what I perceive as a problem? Because when cars are parked on, and all of them, I can name each one of them individually who've been asked to move their cars. And you know what? They do, but it's a constant, it's a constant thing, okay? It's a constant thing because the customer who comes up with their car and the lot's full, so they park there to go into the businesses and talk to the business, okay? I can't imagine people on Main Street. It's bad enough we have trouble with U-turns. I mean, it's a constant thing with me. And double parks. I can't imagine people would pull their cars up on the sidewalk to go into to a restaurant or to get a haircut or something, like right on the side where you can't even walk by. And that is a constant thing on that street. And I'm just telling you what I've seen through personal experience through 10, 20 years. And it's not getting any better. So I say to myself, you go put another, for what, you're just bringing more of the same. You're making it worse. And I'm not, and I say fairly and honestly, every shop there has done it, okay? The only benefit of the one shop across the street from there is it has 2 exits. You actually have some of the shops there who actually take parking spots, and I don't know if you do, but you take parking spots from the village?
My employee's parking.
Yeah, correct. So you do have to use some of the village parking. But you know what I'm saying?
Shops that use that parking lot.
Excuse me?
There are other shops that use the municipal parking for their damaged cars. I don't do that.
I don't allow that, and we have talked to people. I don't allow that. So if I would, you're more than welcome.
Disagree with that. But
Well, we disagree with that. I don't know. You're telling me I allow it?
I don't know if you...
Or it happens. No, yeah. So it's not allowable. We don't allow it. And a matter of fact, Bruce has actually addressed issues like that. He works in our parking authority in the back, right? So listen, I see it as more the same, more of a parking problem, but I'm going to listen out. I want to see what the GML says. I want to see what the planner says. And I just don't, parking has been a big concern to me from day one. And it is. And I've actually had and again, you say it's not the same thing, but and again, it's not, it's just what is happening.
If I'm adding a building, I'm putting cars in there, so there'll be less cars on the street.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, but your building is bigger than the house that's there, is it not?
No, it's just...
The building is there is going to take more of a footprint than the house, is it not?
No, it's the same...
Well, isn't it coming out to the road?
No, we weren't allowed to do that at all. No, that's not what the architect designed at all.
Isn't the building coming closer to the road?
No.
Then why do you only need 2 feet instead of the 30 feet back? Is there more than 2 feet there now?
I'm not sure what that's about.
Here's the road. And there's the house. You can see how much room it is. 3 days. There's the house. There's an older picture of the house.
Yeah.
And there's an older picture of the building.
Mr. Mayor, it's,
Mr. Manuel, we're going to put it over for the plan. I'm going to have a motion. We're going to, because we still want to look at it. I bet it's better if I get a clearer picture from the planner and from the GML.
Right.
So I'm going to put it over to the planner. Okay?
that's fine, but I just want to respond to this one point.
Yes.
Okay. The proposed garage is at approximately the same location as the house. It is 22 feet from the property line.
Okay. It's supposed to be 30, right?
That's correct. We got a variance for that.
Right, okay. Yeah, it was in September, okay. Okay, anybody have any questions or any points?
Is there a mistake then in the variance that gave him 2 feet instead of?
No, it's on the other side. That's okay, Steve. All right, so I get a motion to put over the public hearing to the September meeting, please? Motion, please?
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion, what?
September 8th.
September 8th?
I'm sorry, what's the date?
September 8th.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
Who made the motion? So, motion made by Joe Corrigan, second by Trustee Albert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Can you provide the drawings to the board as well?
Yeah, you should have them.
Oh, okay, I may have.
You got them on your thing.
Oh, I may have it, yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, it's, frankly, this was submitted back in January,
Okay.
so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do I have to close it? I moved it. Do I have to close it? Oh, yeah, close it. You have anything, Terry? You don't, right, Terry? No, I don't have anything. Okay, Terry. Police Department, please.
Good evening, everyone. In the month of June, the police department responded to 939 calls for service. I just have one agenda item in front of the board tonight. At this time, I would like to request that the board accept the resignation of part-time police officer Stephen Dunn, effective June 19th. Officer Dunn has decided to end his lengthy law enforcement career and has moved out of state to enjoy his retirement years. We at the police department wish him all the best in his future endeavors.
I have a motion accepting the resignation of Steve Dunn. Motion, please. Trustee Osborn. Motion made by Trustee Osborn. I got a second, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. We wish the board wishes him best of luck. Pass that on if you see him. I know he went down, I think, South Carolina.
I just talked to him today, but I'll pass on
Yeah,
your
tell him
wishes.
we wish him the best of luck down there,
Playing a
okay?
lot of golf.
Very good. Right. Thank you, Chief. Fire Department, please? No, I need that. So we can make a motion.
Good evening, Mayor and Village Board. We used to have one agenda item, approving the new member of the hose company, Janaya Caldwell.
Can I have a motion accepting Jenny Caldwell as a new member of Volunteer Hose Company number 1? Motion, please.
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Motion made by Trustee Alpert. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Hogue.
Second made by Trustee, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Chief, can you hold on 1 second? Because I want to bring up another issue, okay? We have a issue with an intermunicipal agreement for mutual aid with the Mawa Fire Department, okay?
Okay?
Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to do a motion on it. This is where we've been doing mutual aid with Mawa Fire Department and other things for years. We also have a separate one with Loughlin County. We're going to pass it, but based on, there's a few things that we need, a few changes that we'll deal with them on, okay? So the way it's written up is not, it's as if we're a district and we're not a district, all right?
Okay.
It wouldn't apply to the village. So we'll get Terry to work with them, write it up. So we'll do it pending the approval of the mayor and pending the approval of Terry Rice, okay?
Very good.
So, can I have a motion for an intermunicipal mutual aid agreement with Marlborough, New Jersey, please, pending the approval of Terry Rice and Mayor Curley, please? A motion, please?
Trustee Osborn.
Motion made by trustee Osborn, seconded by trustee Corrigan.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chief. Have a good day. You might be out there with the water tonight, so. Okay. At this point, I have a motion to open up a comment period.
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Motion made by trustee Alpert. Can I get a second, please?
Trustee Hogue.
Second made by trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this point, anybody in public want to say anything? Being there is none, can I please have a motion closing the public comment, please?
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, trustee
Second made
Hogue.
by trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Charles Sawicki, please.
Good evening. Item A, resolution requesting authorization to solicit bids for the roadway improvements Phase 15 with a due date of July 31st, 2025 at 2:30.
Charles, do A through D, we'll do it as a consent agenda in one thing, one motion, okay?
Oh,
Read the other two.
yeah.
I'll just let them know, the board know, the first one is for roads we'll be doing, the second one is for some sidewalks we'll be doing, the third one is we're gonna be doing a lighting program downtown. A couple years back, we brought an expert in, the expert said we had enough lighting. I just think that, I don't agree with that expert, I don't think we have enough lighting. I think what's happened over the years is that where a lot of businesses would keep their lights on at night, but due to the cost of Orange and Rockland, I find that they don't keep their lights on at night, and I find things darker. So we're actually going to be doing, looking and doing ourselves, getting a company to do ourselves. We're going to add a lot more light poles, and at the same time, we're going to have DPW putting lights in ourselves. We're going to do it, lights in all the trees, and then like doing a hangover, just to brighten the downtown a lot. So that's what we'll be, that's what that number 2 is, all right? The other thing was a change order for the roof. As we were doing the roof, we realized they had to do some other materials, which they actually just got in today. So go ahead, Charles, with go B, C, and D now, and I'll do a motion consent agenda.
Okay. Item B, resolution requesting authorization to solicit bids for the 2025 right-of-way improvement project with a due date of July 31st, 2025 at 3 p.m. Item C, resolution requesting authorization to solicit bids for the business district lighting modifications project with a due date of August 26th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Item D, requesting authorization for a change order to MAC Inc. for the Village Hall roof replacement project in the amount of $22,087.13.
That's good. Can I have a motion, please, approving items 8A through 8D, please? Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, trustee Alpert.
Second made by trustee Albert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the remaining item E, resolution authorizing the mayor to appoint Michael Stewart to an MEO2 position with a salary of $33.29 per hour.
Right. Yeah, we had put that in the budget. We had planned on this earlier on. So I have a motion authorization to appoint Michael Stewart to MEO2 position with a salary of $33.29 an hour. Motion, please.
Trustee Osborn.
Motion made by trustee Osborn, second, please.
Second, trustee
Second made by
Corrigan.
trustee Corrigan, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Right there. Anyone, no, I don't feel a need for executive session, okay? If anyone else does. Trustees, have any comments? No. I guess I'll go. Cathy, I want to say good job with the pool party. We all had a good time here. Okay? I had to tell Joe Corrigan there was no skinny dipping. She started undressing. I said, well,
Did.
we're not doing that here, Joe.
Because it was hotter than last year.
I said,
don't
this
know how
isn't
that was
Jersey, this is
physically possible.
this isn't Jersey, I told her. You gotta, those days gotta end. So, you know, and Steve said next year he wants to book the Devo band for the party. He loves Devo. Trustee Alpert loves Devo, okay?
That would probably cost more than our budget.
Otherwise there, it's dangerous, a lot of water there tonight. So we sat down with the roofers today, you know, about getting things moving along. You know, again, we had to bring in some other materials that messed it up, and we just want to make sure it's done right. So we're going ahead with that. And that's about it, folks. At this point, I have a motion to close the meeting. Oh, no, one more thing, I do apologize. At this point, I'd like to accept the resignation of Andy Dale from the planning board, okay? I'll just read a little thing here. He actually moved to Florida. Dear Mr. Mayor, it has been a true privilege to serve on the Suffern Planning Board, and I want to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to work alongside such dedicated and professional individuals, each committed to the best interests of our village, has both an honor and a pleasure. As I will be relocating, I must step down from my role. While I will no longer be able to serve, I remain proud of the time I spent contributing to the thoughtful planning and growth of Suffern. I am grateful for the experience and relationship built along the way. Wishing the board and village continued success in all its future endeavors. I want to thank him. I personally had a lot of respect for him. I liked him very, very much, and I believe he will truly, truly, truly be missed. At this point, I have an appointment now, so I have a gentleman named Richard Byrne on the planning board who's an alternate. At this point, I want to take him and appoint him to the remaining term of the Andy Dale term. I don't need a board resolution, it's just my appointment. So I'm going to appoint Richard Burns as a planning board, as a regular planning board member. He's on that board now. He lives in the village, and he's thirsty to be more involved. So I'm happy to have him. So based on that, I wish him good luck on that board. At this point, I'd like to have a motion to close the meeting, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, trustee
Second made by trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, folks.